Moving on to another of our top stories, the controversy over author Salman Rushdie just keeps growing bigger and bigger, and now a fresh row has erupted. The Rajasthan government has said Rushdie will have to make a commitment that he won't read from the satanic verses, his banned novel, to get permission for a video link to address the audience at the Jaipur Lit Fest. This interaction with the audience via a video link is scheduled for tomorrow. But the big question is, will Rushdie agree? And for more on that, let's now go across to my colleague Rajan Mahan, who joins us on the phone line from Jaipur. Rajan, first there was endless uncertainty over whether Rushdie would attend the festival. Now, would you say there's a question mark over whether this condition would be acceptable to Rushdie?
Precisely, that is now going to be the big question because, while officially the Rajasthan government is largely maintaining that, they're still examining this new question of a video link being allowed or not allowed. But what you're being told informally through our, informed sources within the Home Ministry is that the government is worried because, you see, once a video link is established, then Salman Rushdie has the full freedom to actually say what he wants to say from the other side. And now, what they're saying is that if it was just some private sort of a screening, then that would have been okay. But here, it's going to be a screening with hundreds, maybe even a few thousand watching the video link with him. And therefore, Satanic Verses is a banned book. And therefore, anybody trying to read extracts from there, etc., is something that is legally not permissible. So therefore, while officially they're remaining tight-lipped and they're only saying, well, we are examining this new situation now that the festival organizers officially confirmed to NDTV. Remember in the morning when we were doing the OB and the organizer, one of the main organizers, Sanjay Roy, had clearly told us that they were planning on a video link which would happen tomorrow. But the Rajasthan government is kind of saying officially only this much, that we are keeping an eye, we are examining this issue. But informally, what our sources are saying is that they've already kind of conveyed to the organizers that any reading of even a passage of Satanic Verses is not is going to constitute a violation of the law. So, I mean, clearly they are conveying it in as strong a language as possible, but they're not going to come out officially on it, at least so far. Right now, what they're officially saying is they're examining the issue and they're in touch with the organizers. So we'll all have to wait and see. And yes, indeed, first the suspense over whether Rushdie would come in for the festival or not. And now the suspense on whether the link will be allowed or not. So clearly, I mean, the Salman Rushdie row controversy just continues to hang like a huge shadow over the Jaipur Literature Festival.
Right, Rajan, thanks so much for joining us with those details. Clearly, the last word has not been heard yet on the Salman Rushdie controversy, and it remains to be seen now whether that video link will eventually be permitted and whether Salman Rushdie will, in fact, address the audience at the Jaipur Lit Fest. Meanwhile, author Hari Kunzru has defended reading excerpts from Salman Rushdie's banned novel, The Satanic Verses, on stage during the Jaipur Lit Festival last week. Kunzru has written in the Guardian newspaper that he read the passage without consulting the festival organizers. He adds, our intention was not to offend anyone's religious sensibilities, but to give a voice to a writer who had been silenced by a death threat. Reading from another of his books would have been meaningless. We wanted to demystify the book. It is, after all, just a book, not a bomb, not a knife or a gun, just a book. Author Chetan Bhagat, who is also at the Jaipur Lit Fest, has expressed strong views on this issue. He says he's all for freedom of expression, but he would not have read from the banned novel.
As a writer, of course, I want full freedom. As an artist, I want absolutely no controls on whatever I want to do. And nobody should give controls. I still believe the freedom of expression is there. But if I'm aware, like today, right now I can make one statement. You're giving me a stage on National Day. I could make 2 lines that could stir up a lot of things. But should I do that? And should I celebrate it as, hey, that's my freedom of speech? There is a judgment call required. It comes down to that. It is judgment call required. Why are you reading those passages? That was never the plan anyway. But people, like I said, it's a free country and people are free to do whatever they want and face the consequences. I wouldn't have done it.
And if you're wondering what all the fuss is about, here's the full story. The top 10 things you need to know about the Rushdie row.
24 winters have gone by since the satanic verses hit the book stands and then hastily withdrawn. Yet it is unlikely author Salman Rushdie will be allowed to forget. The protests against his visit to India, rooted in the 1988 novel, passages of which Muslims found offensive, a distorted interpretation of the Quran, even though it is unlikely the current crop of protesters would have read it. One reason, the unavailability of the book. In October 1988, India prohibited the import of the satanic verses, fearing its circulation could provoke unrest, while clarifying that the ban is no indication of the artistic merit of the book. Rushdie responded in the New York Times in an open letter to then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Thanks for the good review. Within months, Iranian spiritual leader Ayatollah Khomeini had issued a fatwa calling for Rushdie's death, forcing the artist to go into hiding, and with it the book, whose available copies were being burnt the world over. Even today, the Indian ban persists, even though Rushdie has visited the country several times since 1998, 2 years after Iran declared it no longer supports the fatwa. Recently, while the rector of Asia's largest Islamic seminary, the Darul Uloom in Uttar Pradesh's Deoband, heard Rushdie was invited to the Jaipur Literature Festival, he asked the Indian government to cancel the visa. Now Rushdie is Indian born. He does not need a visa, and the centre said so. Now as Muslim seminaries of different sects join in, issuing fresh fatwas, and right-wing parties spout venom, the government is concerned. The controversy is largely politics-driven. It's emanated from UP, a poll-bound state, where the 18% Muslim voters could play kingmaker. None of the political contenders can afford not to talk about the issue. Hence, television debates and the Urdu media have resurrected an issue among Muslim voters that were considered long dead and buried. This is a writer who has given India a reckoning on the world literary stage. He is not coming to Jaipur to talk about the satanic verses. The Muslim voter that is being projected as angry struggles with immense illiteracy and poverty. Rushdie has no relevance for them. Which leaves us staring at the diabolique of India, so angry over the ban on Bhagavad Gita in Russia, yet so unwilling to let Rushdie in.